All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army episode 2.267. We got a lot to talk about this week. We'll start out with a quick housekeeping note. Then we're going to hit the Euros. We'll hit Copa America with, sub featuring U.S. men's national team versus Bolivia recap, and also a preview of Panama game. And then we'll hit stoppage time with everybody's favorite segment, GOAWs. But now time to welcome in this week's panel of beauties. First up, we got Mr. Mikey Fowler, aka Mikey Podcast, who loves going first in these. How often do people ask you if you are related to Andrew Santino?
Why?
Because you look like his less ginger brother.
Well, he's a handsome man, so thank you. I've never heard that in my life, but that's...
Have you not?
No.
I figured you absolutely did. Do you see the resemblance?
I'm gonna have to do some soul searching now.
It's not quite like Neil Maupay and Mitch, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think you got to look this up and maybe check the 23andMe. Just saying. All right. Next up, we got Tyler Terrens. Sell me, Tyler, on your pickup basketball skill set. What is it you bring to the table when you go down to LA Fitness and run fives?
First of all, this is not fair to put me on the spot like this and to basically for me to indulge in my narcissism, but I guess I will if you're asking. Just defense, hustle. I play like the annoying white dude that everybody thinks of, like the annoying white dude whose main sport is soccer. I'll hit the open three, go out and transition. I'm talking the entire time, talking through screens. I'm unselfish. I'll make the extra pass. I'm annoying to play with if you're on the other team. Play against. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
You need every team needs one of those. You're not quite TJ McConnell because I feel like he's got some other things going on there. But
no, somebody called me that the other day in during a game. I think it's just the first white person that they could think of in the NBA playoffs, but they called me that.
Listen, that's a compliment. TJ,
I took it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, all right, Tommy, this is your fifth season as a professional soccer player?
6. Don't sell me short.
All right, my bad. You got five done, 6 in progress. What has changed most about you as a professional soccer player over the 5.3 years you've been playing?
As a player or a person?
Player.
Well, I actually started scoring goals as a professional, which is like kind of the reverse of what most people do, is they score less and less goals the higher the level they go. I've actually done the opposite for some reason. Might be number one. I would say I'm always like a pretty consistent player, but I think the volume of consistency has improved over the last 5 or 6 years.
All right. Okay. And how about as a human?
Jeez.
I thought you had an answer lined up. That's why you.
As a human, we'll go with I am a more empathetic human over the last 5 or 6 years.
Empathetic. Okay. So you're nicer to
referees. When you get slower.
That's true. That's true. I was a much bigger a-hole to referees back when I thought I was good than I am now. Now I'm like just the nicest guy. Like, just please give me a call here and there. Okay. All right. Let's move on. So quick housekeeping note. I've gotten so many DMs over the course of, the years from people asking if we're ever going to hire an intern. And, I've been it always is so nice to hear from people who are interested in helping Sam's Army go to the next level. And as we talked about an episode or two ago, we are finally perhaps at the point where, it's time to take it to that next level. So from my end, it's time to admit that my, crappy, video and non-existent video editing skills and crappy social media skills and world-class Microsoft Paint skills are probably not quite enough to get us there. So it's time to bring somebody on. We haven't put up an official listing, but stay tuned for that. What we really want, I think, and maybe Mikey or Tyler or Tommy or Mitch, who's not here, could add a little something to this, but essentially we need somebody who can sort of accentuate what we're already doing in terms of, social media. Also, video editing is going to be a big thing. And of course, we'd probably have somebody get involved with the podcast here and there as well. So it's your typical intern position. I think it's important to say that, like, right now anyway, just like we're not getting paid, this would be for more of love of the game and love of the podcast, hopefully. But obviously, in future, ideally, things will change and we'll be able to revisit that. So I guess stay tuned for an official listing that I'll have on social media. You can email me, samsarmyusa@gmail.com. I don't know, some sort of resume. Tell us a little bit about you, your soccer sort of history, and your skills with the say social media and video editing, etc. I don't know, Mikey, have I forgotten anything or not mentioned anything?
People should take this as a really good sign of what's to come.
Okay, short and
And also,
sweet.
you have to mandatory sit down with Tyler, myself, Tommy, and Mitch and go shot for shot if you're going to contend.
Okay, there you go. The gauntlet has been laid down. Okay, let's head to Euro 2024. Wow. So we are like literally minutes off of what was one of the wildest finishes of this tournament, of any tournament. I mean, when Italy is about to get, essentially crash out of the group stage of any tournament, it's a big thing. But then the way they came back with the last kick of the game, scored to save their blushes, get it a point against Croatia, and move on to the knockout rounds. Just an incredible game. Before we, get into the Group A and Group B, and then the predictions for the other groups, quickly, Tyler, anything that you can just sort of come to mind about that game and that finish?
That's why we love this game, man. I mean, like, 8 minutes of stoppage time. This Italy team, just what a roller coaster this has been for them. I mean, we complain about shit that goes down in the US and not qualifying for one World Cup, and I get that the Euros is a more difficult UEFA is a more difficult road. But like, fuck me, if they had not qualified for 2 World Cups, won the Euros in the previous edition, and get knocked out of the group stage, you burn the whole federation down. But one goal, one moment, a center back journeying forward. California, everybody's been talking about this kid. Liverpool should go and get him. I mean, I'm going to put down the $100 million fee on his head right now. If Tommy's probably going to object, him and his NBA. But like, this is, and the Modric goal and Donnarumma making the save, and he's been incredible. Like, that whole game, even though there wasn't a ton going on and there weren't a ton of chances created, like, there were 2 huge moments, and you always got the feeling, I think, that Italy were going to score, but like how it's left for the final kick of the game, and I think that they'll probably lose to Switzerland, which I think is who they're going to play. But yeah, I mean, just absolute fucking scenes, incredible.
Just exactly, you said it first, that this is why we love the sport. It was just an amazing finish, and knowing sort of the history, the narratives, and all that, it just sort of accentuates it. Anything else on Group B? I mean, so we'll start there instead of the Group A. We'll finish up with Group B. So Spain topped the group. They won all 3 games. Italy just got by with the seat of their pants with that draw against Croatia, who I think mathematically may still be alive, but I think with 2 points they got a tough road ahead, because some of the third place teams will advance as well. And then Albania, who was a team that, I mean, they came in sort of, people thought, they're going to be a little tougher than everybody expected. I think they played pretty well. It sounds like the fans were out in force in Germany, but they only ended up with 1 point with the draw against I think it was Croatia. So I don't know, Mikey, any
Albania is the lowest seeded team. I know the FIFA rankings mean absolutely nothing to most of us, but it does give you an indication of where they were supposed to finish. I think they by all accounts, had a good account of themselves. Worth noting, Croatia, 7.1 XG in the group. Their opponents 4.7, and they were outscored 6-3. Just a really hard break. I think they continue to be that team that everybody comes in and goes, this isn't going to happen again, and it's just going to keep going. So I'm very impressed with it. Can admit, if we're talking Group B as a whole, I was dead wrong about Italy. I thought that they had what it takes to keep up, if not outplay that Spain team. And it looks like that Spain team, all 22 of them or all 25 of them that have featured so far, are up to par with anything Italy could possibly put out. So, yeah.
I still think they're posers.
I hope so.
Oh,
I hope so. I don't really care for a lot of the individuals that are lining up on that team, but
wait, go expand on this a little bit, Tyler. What about Spain sort of tells you that they're
Well, I think that this group, even though people deemed it the group of death, it actually wasn't that strong. Italy clearly isn't that good. Croatia is not that good. Albania was a bit of a surprise and probably outkicked their coverage. So number one, I think that the group of death was the group of puppies at the end of the day. And I just think that if they come up, I'm trying to take a look to see who they potentially could play. I think that they might have one of the third place.
they will 3 ADF. So it's either it's like Czech. Nobody wants to play that third place Group D team, but that could potentially be somebody they end up with, or Hungary. So
yeah, I mean that third place Group D team could be the Netherlands, it could be France, it could be Austria, depending on what shakes out. But I just don't think that they're as ruthless. And like when Italy won in 21, they ripped through everybody at the start, and you could just tell that they were a team that was going to be a problem. But like for me, even though this Spain team has had a really good group stage and took all 9 points, like there's something about this team that just kind of stinks a little bit. I could be wrong. This is more of a gut feeling, but for right now, I'm still not convinced.
I don't disagree with that. I think if you look at this group, it's not the group of puppies, it's the group of old dogs that are like slowly crossing the line.
Thanks for being, the metaphor police over here. I feel like I got my point across.
I think the reason why Spain did so well is because they are puppies. Like they just went out, they're fresher, they're younger, they're more athletic, they're more technical than all three of these other teams. And in group stage, that favors them. But when these games start slowing down and become even more like tournament soccer, I think you're right with like they could get caught out with a 16-year-old, 21-year-old, 19-year-old as some of their key players in the attack.
And they could play Germany, in the quarters.
Yeah, they're locked into Germany before the semi.
Yeah.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like those are tough games where the experience matters. Whereas like I think if Italy and if Croatia somehow gets a 10th life, there's a chance that they could go farther just because they're more experienced.
There's no chance with 2 points they can go through. They would need so much shit to go wrong. They would need
England to start scoring goals, which would be funny.
That's rough. It's not a place you want to be.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I look
more unlikely than Croatia getting through.
Slovakia needs to win by 4 goals. I mean, sorry, Slovakia needs to score or lose by 4. Slovakia or Slovenia, one of the two. I get those two confused.
Slovenia.
They're both sitting on the same thing.
Yeah,
actually, Slovakia is on 3 points, so they're in.
Yeah, so Slovenia. Okay. Well, quickly, Group A, which has been settled at this point. Germany topped the group with 7 points. Switzerland, and that was on another last second draw that they got against Switzerland, who was very impressive. I gotta say, me and Mitch sort of sparred a little bit about who was going to be our dark horse. I took Hungary, he took Switzerland. He was definitively right on that. Switzerland was very good in the group stages and probably should have won that game against Germany. And the thing about that stood out about Switzerland for me is the fact that their coach was able to impart like kind of a complicated system in terms of the way they played, the way they pressed, when they pressed. It's tough to do that with a national team that you don't see that often and for that long of a period. So I was actually really impressed with the way that Switzerland played in the group stage. And I think they're going to be a tough out for whoever they face next round, which, I don't know who they match up with, but they'll probably play a first place team, I assume. We'll see on that. So Germany top, Switzerland second. Hungary is still alive in third place. They're on 3 points, but their goal differential is -3. That's not great. So I think they're probably gonna have a tough road. And then of course Scotland. Oh, Scotland. The fans showed out. this Euros. Unfortunately, the team did not. They ended up with 1 point. Anything to add on Group A? Nope, nope, nope. Okay, now we'll head to the groups that have not been settled. So we'll start with Group C, where England was, at least by the odds, bookies' way of thinking, they were heavy favorites. They have not played well. Like, everybody knows that. The English media is all over them. Even Alexi Lalas is all over them, which, I don't know what that says. But anyway, England's on 4 points, Denmark's on 2 points, Slovenia on 2, and then Serbia bringing up the rear with 1 point. And then the last game, which starts, I believe, tomorrow, England will play Slovenia and Denmark in Serbia. Any thoughts on how this group shakes out, Tyler?
There will be something here. I don't know. Slovenia has been fun to watch, like really fun to watch, actually. And I tweeted and I was just like, I hope that England one day will play like Slovenia, where like they're carefree, they're courageous, they're clean on the ball, they get forward. Like, and the fact that I'm saying it a little tongue in cheek, but like I also kind of mean it. Like, God, I really do hope that England get either second place or for some reason end up in third and hoping for something to happen. I mean, at this point, that you could probably peg them as a third place winner, but yeah, I'm so fucking sick of watching them. And why are we surprised? Why is anybody surprised at how this has gone down? I was listening to Football Weekly, and they were like, oh, well, we should expect a different type of England team because Gareth Southgate knows that this is probably his final major tournament, that he's not going to get the keys to the car for 26, and that like he's going to throw caution to the wind. Like, that's not who he is. And they're so afraid to make a mistake as a team in a tournament that it just bleeds into the play. And I'm so sick of watching it. It really is. They remind me a little bit of like Manchester United in terms of the expectations, the lack of identity, and just utter bullshit across the board. And I just sick of watching it. Anyway,
Why is David Ornstein scooping lineup changes
Is he?
a day early?
did he?
I've never understood that with English media.
It's crazy.
I'm saving my rant for England when we talk about the US.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so Ornstein scooped that Gallagher is going to start over Trent.
I mean,
it's not that big of a scoop considering how much the game changed when he made that sub. Yeah,
I just think it's insane that happens. Anyway, so this group for you, Sam, it's an overkiller. There hasn't been anything going on in this group. It's the group.
Believe me, I know.
Which is ironic with Serbia's best 5 players all being strikers. I think we could see a mild pop in tomorrow on the final day. I think these teams aren't going to all go home without throwing something forward. England aside, I think Denmark has the ability to open up when they want to, and I think they're going to have to. They looked at what happened with Italy today, and they don't want to get caught the same way. 2 points is not where they want to be either. So I think they have a chance to win this group. Slovenia is going to play England pretty well, and I think Serbia is inevitably a team that goes for it anyway. So I think this could be a very exciting final match day. And if I'm wrong, it just means this group sucked more than I could have ever possibly imagined. So
I'm going to go ahead and say it. Slovenia's getting a result out of the game.
I was going to pick Serbia over Denmark. So I think that's exciting.
Let's ride. Eastern Bloc, baby. I'm with it.
Let's do it.
Well, I'm going to, do we want to do a specific Ivan Toney's best bets in this episode, or should we skip it? Because we, just, it's a little awkward.
I would skip. I'm losing too much money for your audience here.
Okay, fair enough. Then I'll just come out with my Ivan Toney's best bet of the week right now, the Denmark Serbia over. That's absolutely going over. Like, both those teams are going to go. All right, for it.
I'm hammering the under.
Yeah, that's a lock. You just ruined that game.
You ruined the whole fucking thing, especially given how bad this group has been.
Denmark Serbia over. There. You can book my bet, or I'll book yours, whichever one.
We'll split the winnings and you cover the loss.
I can't do the math that fast. Or
man, England is in trouble tomorrow.
It just means that I don't lose anything.
Oh, okay. Heads I win, tails you lose. Okay.
I think Slovenia is gonna do. I'm telling you right fucking now.
I'm just furious Shesko decided to stay. That guy is unbelievable.
He might not play. He's got a quad injury.
Wow.
Was he banged up?
Yeah, they said he's questionable with like a low quad injury or something. I saw that yesterday or 2 days ago.
What a player he is.
That could change.
Slovenia has been sneaky good for a few tournaments in a row here, by the way. I don't hate that team. And they also have the cleanest kits in Europe, and I will not hear otherwise.
Slovenia, huh?
I haven't taken a close look at their kit, I must say.
Clean.
Interesting. All right. Well, I mean, England's going to go through whether they get a result or not. It could be, I guess it could be a really wild finish, right? With Slovenia and Denmark jumping England. That would certainly be an interesting
That would be
result.
Wait, would that
man.
would it be England Spain?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
Narratives write themselves on that one.
If you want to transition right into England's next future opponent, we can talk about Group D, Sam, if you're all set, because
Yep. Let's go. And Group D is Netherlands up top right now on 4 points. France right there with them on 4 points. This is coming off of their it was a disappointing game between the two of them, unfortunately. Then Austria in third on 3 points, and Poland all but eliminated, I believe, on 0 points at the moment. So Netherlands, France, Austria, Poland, go for it, Mikey.
this is the best group of the whole thing. Poland, despite being the first team eliminated, had a pretty good account of themselves against a very good Austria side. I am going to double and triple and quadruple down on my take that Austria is the real deal. Ralph Rangnick, revenge tour, if he lines up against England, that is my dream for round of 16 matchup, is Ralph Rangnick ending the England media debacle that's going on.
And the players love him.
I know.
They absolutely adore him.
They play a high pressing system. I said last week on the show that they're at the right age. They have played together a long time. They look really, really solid. And yeah, that's my favorite team at the tournament left. Personally, just from like the way they play and the way they are. So I think they beat the Netherlands, but that would put the Netherlands potentially into that third place slot. And that's a nightmare for anybody in that third place slot with Virgil van Dijk meeting you in the round of 16. But and if they don't beat the Netherlands, then they get England, in my opinion, and that would be even better. So I think they're in a great place, and this is my favorite group. Mbappe still hasn't scored in the Euros in his career. That's unbelievable. I think that all changes in the Poland game, but yeah, this is why you watch right here. This group. Tomorrow.
Netherlands, Austria tomorrow should be a great game. Like that's a must watch.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts on Group D here?
So how different is your evaluation of England and France right now? For as much as people shit on England, I've heard zero about France.
It's funny when Mbappe is not playing, they act like they all aren't worth 80 million themselves. They look like they're lost and unable to grab.
But even with Mbappe play, like I think I'm throwing performance aside. I think they have performed slightly better, but they're equally as pragmatic and boring as England tactically. But the only difference is they've gone.
You think they're equally as boring?
Yes.
I think that's a stretch.
I think they're more pragmatic than England for sure, especially defensively. I think the only big difference is you actually have a left winger.
I mean, the lineup they put out against the Netherlands.
Whereas, like, that is the biggest hole in England right now is they have no idea who they want to play at left wing, and it's just like an abyss. And that's
France kind of has the same problem.
When Mbappe is not playing, or if
when Mbappe, when they play him through the middle, it's Thuram wide, and when he's not playing, they put Rabiot in the left.
Rabiot was terrible.
Giroud should probably.
I told you this at the beginning of the tournament that I'm. How is he still starting in these? I don't understand. His
Giroud?
No,
Rabiot. Oh, he was god awful so far in this tournament, and yeah, I don't know what.
And also, Conte is the biggest story or best player of France right now.
He's incredible.
And I think I told you this, Sam.
I think people forgot how good he was because of going to Saudi Arabia. But also, you have guys that are playing for the best teams in the world, and your best player is the guy who just went on vacation for the last 10 months in Saudi Arabia and has like claimed this spot as the best defensive midfielder in the world in 2 games. And like, there's just
honestly though, it's a big brain move. It's a big brain move on his part to like just go like play, quote unquote. I'm putting up air quotes right now, and like just chill, get your bag, and then just rest up and be ready. Because if he was playing in the Premier League, who knows? He might be shit. He might have gotten hurt. He might run out of gas. Like
if he was
this
still
is
playing at the top level, like he would still be like the best all action midfielder in the world, hands down, based on the way he just played in the last.
he is the only midfielder like that pops up at the bottom of your own penalty area almost every single play to break up the opposition's attack. He is always one of the last guys backtracking a vertical runner or doing something, and it's fucking insane. And then he's not going to be deep inside of the penalty area on the other side, but like close enough to the point where like he's incredible.
He's like a 6 and an 8, but he's 33 years old. So I think actually Tyler's point makes some sense. If he was playing in the Premier League, I know he has been a workhorse, and like, he's avoided injuries, as well as anybody out there. But 33 years old, the way he plays, he might actually have sort of next level thinking and gone to Saudi Arabia, got the bag, taking it easy a little bit. I guess the big question mark, or with the big risk there, is whether France would drop him. But
well, he's proven that he's undroppable, right?
Yeah, he's not dropping. Camavinga's holding that bench spot down, and until Conte accidentally picks up a second yellow somewhere.
All right, so there's Group D. E is an interesting one. Are we? So I mean, like, listen, they're all on 3 points at this point, which is a intriguing position to be. The play has not been great. Lukaku has been garbage for Belgium.
Well, he's not a tournament.
I would argue differently.
Oh, his finishing has been good. Sorry, just say his finishing has been garbage. Okay.
Yeah, I would say, and I don't think his finishing in the first game. Yeah, I'm not going to debate that, but he actually took a lot of the chances he had in the second game pretty well, and I thought he was an absolute menace in the second game.
He was just off
when he was offsides every time.
Offsides, or like the chances on his right footing, just smacks it as hard as he can and across the goal.
Yep.
He saves it. Like, I don't think he fluffed his lines. Like, he made solid contact with the ball, which I think.
Wow. I didn't realize Tommy. I didn't realize
when you
Tommy was
think
such a big Lukaku apologist.
When you think of, I actually was impressed with him, especially in the last 30 minutes. I thought he was their best player. It's just like everyone's image of him right now, and it's like, this is the shit thing about international tournaments is he's just like known as being the guy who just whiffs the ball or fluffs his lines right now,
or blocks his own teammates' shots, or
he can't shake that image regardless of
what. Would you speak in the same way about Darwin Nunez?
No, I think Darwin's about to have a tournament of his life.
He was only plus 700 to be the top scorer of Copa. I put like my life savings on that. I think Darwin's here.
I think Darwin's a different forward minus the finishing, but you could probably say some of the same things happen. Whereas like, and to his point, like if you're looking at it from like a statistical standpoint, these guys do create a lot of high quality chances for themselves. Probably don't score them as much as they should.
I would argue that De Bruyne creates a lot of chances on the behalf of Lukaku, and that Romelu's not creating on his own.
This Belgium side is just set up so interesting to me. Like Arthur Thiat or whatever, the guy from Rennes, is not a left back. He's been playing left back. Carrasco played 75 minutes at pure back 4 left back for them. Then they switched to a back 5. People didn't know if Castagna was going to be inside or at the wing back position. I don't know. I don't think they know how they want to line up. Luca Bacchio, listen, Luis Appenda's being kept out of this team. You have to have a justification for that, and I don't really know if I could justify for any of these selections so far. The midfields, Tielemans and Onana are fine. They sit deep, but like it's pretty much just De Bruyne or bust at this point for these guys. And they look
a little Man City-ish in terms of the way that they move in and out. And when they're in the attacking third, I feel like they've got the green light to do whatever they want. But like playing Doku at times when they move into that 3-back, like I know that they did it during the friendlies, but like he was playing as a fucking wing back, which I get it. Like you're good, but I just
that's crazy.
They're so bizarre for the amount of talent and the things that they should have going for them, and just falling on their face major tournament after major tournament. Like it really is bizarre.
Okay, and so now that sets us up for the game on Wednesday. The game's on Wednesday. So we got Slovakia and Romania. Again, remember, all these teams are on 3 points. So we got Slovakia and Romania, Ukraine and Belgium. Tommy, how do you see this playing out?
I would love to see Belgium finish first and Romania second. And then, like, I think at that point, Slovakia is probably finishing third, Ukraine fourth, just on goal difference. But I would like to see Belgium win this group and then set up like win their kind of first knockout game and then set up another like really good bigger team clash in the semis or quarters.
You could end up if Belgium finished in second, you could end up with a really, really, really good round of 16 game because the runner-up of Group D plays the runner-up of Group E. Mm-hmm. So you could end up with like a Netherlands Belgium type situation.
I think these games are gonna stink.
Probably.
I think everybody knows 4 points is like a golden ticket at this tournament. So I think maybe they're going to be timid until the news gets in that someone's up 1-0 in the other game.
I could see Romania, Slovakia being a snooze fest. Ukraine's got to do something.
True.
Like
if you're Romania though, or Slovakia for that matter, you're playing with house money as it is right now. Just go after the fucking game and win the group.
I wouldn't want to watch these first halves. I'll say that.
That's kind of what I'm getting at here. Is it's going to be I think it's going to be very timid for a while until people know what they need to do, and that probably is going to come when Belgium scores first against Ukraine.
Sam, tell me which over you like in this. Come on, let's hear it.
Belgium, Ukraine.
You don't really mean that, do you?
No, but I like it better than the other one. I'm not betting the over. Listen, I don't bet over every game. I just when I bet overs. And I don't like either one.
I'm gonna parlay these overs. That's
oh goodness, that's insanity. I'm not trailing you on that. You're not dragging me in the mud. Not this time, Mr. Terrence. All right. Well, so does anybody see Belgium crashing out?
Yeah,
they've done it in the past.
Not hard to picture that.
All right.
Also, let me ask you this question. What if they do all end up with 4 points and then obviously somebody is in fourth with 4 and there's going to be some third place schmuck out there with 3 points that gets through? Yeah. We might have to change the rules.
On the fly too.
No. Don't, I'm not an anarchist. Like I'm just saying change it for the next tournament.
All right. Well, the anarchists know what they're rooting for. Now, Group F, this is an interesting one. So we got Portugal, who some of us, me definitely included, was giving them a lot of shit after their first game, which was just a really disappointing loss.
Crazy,
first of all, they did not look good. They looked really bad. They looked much better.
Really? They looked really bad?
Against Czechia?
They looked really bad. That's how you're going to label it.
Yes.
And Czechia's got some experienced players.
True.
Czechoslovakia to David Moyes, by the way.
Yes, right. I love him.
Yeah.
I'm all the way back in on David Moyes.
Portugal looked bad. If you guys can argue with me on that if you want, but Portugal looked bad against Czechia. They looked very good against Turkey. I have to give them some credit there. And Roberto Martinez, I guess I have give him a little bit of credit. I didn't think starting Ronaldo was the right move, but listen, they scored some goals and then they got it done. So credit where it's due. So we got Portugal on 6 points, Turkey on 3 points, and then Czechia and Georgia on 1 point.
How are we pronouncing Turkey's
I don't know.
name,
Are we supposed to change the pronunciation or is it just the spelling?
Derek Ray said that we need to, so clearly we need to.
Okay.
Turkey. I keep hearing Turkey.
Turkey.
David Moyes called them the Ottoman Empire, just for the record.
Hey, boy. We could all use a visit to Turkey based on the hairlines on this chat. So
fair.
Damn. Tommy, what are you talking about? I know what I've been battling since I've been 21
for Turkey visits, sponsored by American Airlines.
Can we get Landon on the pod to talk about that?
We might have to. I'm working back channels on that. So Portugal in the final game, they played Georgia. Georgia's, at the bottom of the group at the moment. And then Turkey, thank you, Tommy. Turkey and Czechia, the two newly named teams, play each other. Anybody see anything other than Portugal and Turkey? Turkey coming 1-2?
Czechia can beat Turkey. Patrick Schick can randomly grab you a brace and win you a match in international play. I don't think it's gonna. I mean, listen, the Goulet stuff's interesting. Can we talk about that for a second? He's getting his jerseys taken off him by the manager because of comments he made regarding Gala and Federer. I think he was banished to work out on his own. There's a lot going on in that camp with Arda Güler that I think is worth noting. He is the creative hub of that team. Kokchu is a great player, but he's more industrious than a 10. And with him not in that lineup, I don't see where those goals come from. And then, yeah, you can absolutely see them getting caught by Czechia here. I think it's not a foregone conclusion that they're the second best team in this group.
Okay.
Schick is also the king of 75 plus goals.
Telling you, I think he's got a goal in him before this thing's said and done.
If he's on in minute 75 to 98,
Bet it.
there's a good chance he scores 1 or 2 goals based
Actually
on.
let's see if I can bet that now.
2 goals. Calling 2 goals after the 75th is insanity, but Mikey might find a way to bet that.
That is genuinely what he's done on multiple occasions this year. So,
and there we go. That's group A through F. So we quickly, do we want to do a quick power rankings or move right on? I know Tyler hates power rankings. All right, moving along to Copa America preview. So we are part of the way through the group stage. Obviously, we are past. We're not through the first full match day. We still got games coming up today. Colombia and Paraguay play, and then Brazil and Costa Rica. But the U.S. and Bolivia played, so we're gonna obviously focus a little bit on that. And we'll start there. So the 2-0 win, we had a golazo from Christian Pulisic, who, and I was watching the game with Spencer Ritchie, so this is not just a goalkeeper hater talking here. That goalkeeper for Bolivia could have done better on that goal. He mistimed it. He could have done something else. Anyway, still a great hit. I don't want to take anything away from Pulisic on the play. That was an amazing hit, great strike, good goal. Second goal was Fuller and Balogun. Just a classy finish through the legs. What? You thought he scuffed it, Tyler?
It scuffed it. You think he hit that cleanly?
I don't know. I guess
always works.
I thought that's where he wanted to put it. I don't know.
He totally mishit that. I think he wanted to put it there, but he hit the ball into the ground. It had no power behind it. Tommy, with one leg tied behind his back, can hit the ball cleaner than that.
Well, listen, Tommy's scoring goals for fun these days.
That's what I'm saying.
Mbappe is the king of it too. Scuff shots between the defender's legs, like off speed. They're
It's a change up. You're saying he did it on purpose?
100%. No. Well, it's an accidental change up. It's definitely a change up though.
So the other things to talk about, the defense, I don't really even know what to say about our defense and Matt Turner, because I felt like Bolivia created 0 dangerous situations, which I guess is a credit to the defense and midfield. Midfield felt like they, controlled the game quite well. Tyler Adams played 60 minutes or so, and then Musa came on. Striker position is still, I think, the biggest question mark coming out of this game. Fuller and Balogun had a few opportunities that he didn't finish. Pepe had a lot. He was only out there for a little time. He had some great looks that I honestly don't even know how they didn't go in. So we could have won this game 4 or 5-0. 2-0 is obviously not bad. 4-0 would have just sort of looked a little more impressive. Mikey, what are your thoughts here?
The striker situation is solved. I think Balogun is probably.
Yeah, we're just taking Sargent out.
He hasn't scored for this country in 5 years.
He hasn't played. Give him some time.
When you say solved, Mikey, you just mean we're
Determined.
We're defaulting.
It's determined. Sorry. Solved is one thing, but it's been determined who's going to be the striker for this team for the entire tournament.
Just this tournament.
I'll buy that. I'm not happy about it, but I'll buy it.
Right. So I think for me, I'm very, very happy in the center back pairing, and it looks like we have a mature center back pairing that likes each other and complements each other very well. I'm happy about that. Yunus Musa needs to play 90 minutes for this team, to me. And I think the way we do that is not to sacrifice Tyler Adams at halftime. I think it's Weston McKennie. Other than that, I think it all pretty much picks itself. So the lineup for me is kind of less of the discussion, more so as I think we looked good. I think we combined well. I think that the flow of play actually looked a little bit like it did against Brazil, which gives me hope for it to continue. But yeah, I think the stability in the lineup is important to progress as a nation. I think we're at that point, at least for this tournament. So it's American by nature for us to debate these things, but I think Greg has an idea of who the 11 or 12 or 13 are. And it's Pepe relieving Balogun at 80 and Musa, McKennie, Adams splitting that duty in there.
And so you want to see Musa instead of McKennie from the start?
I do.
Okay.
Tommy, how do you feel about that?
I don't hate that. I would be interested, and I don't know if you do it in this tournament, what it would look like if you had all three of those guys on the field and no number 9. Like what that would look like.
That's the fun. Now we're talking.
Like,
have we tried Gio at the false 9 yet? Have we tried that?
No, he's not been healthy enough, to be fair. I don't think.
But having all three of them on the field, and then Gio as a false 9, and then Pulisic and Way is sort of having the luxury to be able to utilize the spaces they see fit, whether it's Christian staying all the way out wide, Tim Weah tucking in a little bit and maybe overloading one side, whatever it may be. But having a striker and not knowing which one of the strikers is our guy and not having them score on a regular basis, we are literally kicking ourselves and cutting off our nose to spite our strikerless face because we're not having our best 11 on the field ever. We are always sacrificing one of our best soccer players. So in the name of having a number 9 in Greg's system. And you can say whatever you want about Greg. They are clearly starting to learn how to play this system. The number 9 position still is so unfixed and untreated that I think if you were to just put Gio there and just have him tuck in and have him not just be a poacher and just have him be a part of the midfield, and it might look like a diamond at times, I think that they'd be able to figure that out. But maybe that's the one tweak so that we can really get this thing purring. Maybe it's not just changing up the entire thing and firing Greg. Maybe
I do think, to your point about like feeling comfortable in the system, I think also when you've seen Greg come back, he's adjusted some of his tactics to fit the qualities of the players. Like he's had with when Tyler's hurt and it's with Cardoso, Musa, and Gio a little bit lower, guys that are very good on the ball and build up, and you have Weston higher up the field who likes to run and kind of be active. Whereas in the past, it wasn't always the case. And you put maybe Gio or Musa, likely Gio, higher up the field, and he doesn't feel like he's getting involved in the game. So then he starts moving places that he probably shouldn't be moving. And then you put Weston in more uncomfortable positions comparatively to the other guys. I think you've seen him make adjustments to the qualities of the players and since he's been back with the US. So I think you're seeing progress on both sides, to your point, from the players understanding his system, but also him understanding the strengths of the players a little bit better and putting them in better positions to succeed. Is that the next evolution of it? I have no idea. I'm very fascinated by that because I do think watching last night in the first half, you see how much more comfortable the front 5 is with Tyler behind them. And I would say that if you had Tyler, Musa, and McKennie on the field together, it would be very interesting to see. And I don't want to see that at the expense of Gio either.
So do you think in this upcoming game against Panama, would you want to experiment, Tyler, with a false 9 with Gio? This is must win, right? We got Uruguay in the third game.
I mean, Yeah, I mean, you could, because you're just going to end up making the same substitution that you would anyway at either halftime or the 60-minute mark, right? Because you're going to bring on Musa, you're going to bring on Gio, depending on which one of them starts. And then you're just going to end up bringing on, let's say, Flo or Pepe, and then taking off Gio or taking off Musa or whatever it is. So like you're going to end up making the same substitution. You know, you don't want to make this change after Copa and have it work against CONCACAF teams, and then we're patting ourselves on the back and we're like, oh, look at us, like, you know, we beat the teams that we're supposed to beat all the time. If we were gonna do it and potentially use it against the top 20 team, this would be the tournament to do it. But I'm a pretty serious risk taker, as you all know. So like, I'm not the right pragmatic person to ask that question. I would do it, but
I would say no, because I think messing with stuff at a major tournament is probably a no-go. But I think it would be an interesting time to do it, because like generally speaking, a lot of these South American teams are like killer in transition and when the spaces are open, and we have seen that and what that does to us. That maybe by making the game a little bit more compact and slower with an extra midfielder
and think about how much space Christian think about how much space Christian will be in if you do end up getting the ball out wide, because it is going to be congested. You are going to want to get all those guys on the ball. And then if the ball gets switched to Kristen, or, you know, if we're working on the right-hand side and you can ping a 60-yard ball to find him, and I know that that's different without having Serginho Dest out there, then he's going to be able to carve guys up. And that's the biggest thing, I think, why we play a 4-3-3 and why Greg hasn't tried this yet, is because you want to utilize your best player. You want to utilize your thoroughbred, and doing that means that having Christian out on the left and having him isolated. And it's worked to a large extent. But I do think that there's one next evolution of this team that needs to happen before 26. Is it this? Like Tommy said, I have no idea. I'm not a fucking tactical genius. I don't have any coaching licenses. I don't play professionally. But what I do know is that we are consistently putting a square peg in a round hole and leaving one of our best soccer players constantly out of the starting 11. And this is the solution, to have them all in the field at the same time.
So just sort of thinking out loud here, if there's a time to do it and sort of experiment with a false nine, it might be Uruguay. If we beat Panama, we have 6 points in the bag. We're basically
no, but if we get shelled, then, you know, we're gonna have zero confidence heading into the quarterfinals.
Well, you can come up with a, you know, devil's advocate reason not to do it for Panama as well.
Sure.
But yeah, okay. All right. So starting 11, I think we had one vote for Musa over
Weston.
Any other changes?
I would just keep it the same way.
Yeah.
I think don't fuck with a good thing right now. I do think Tyler's on some sort of minutes restriction. So someone your 12th or 13th guy are probably going to play a lot of minutes. That's the only change I could see, and I wouldn't say that that's because of how they played. It just might be like it's a quick turnaround.
Mm-hmm. No votes for Pepe or Sargent to start. I mean, it's tough to obviously put Pepe in, given the number of missed chances, but maybe see Sargent. No nodding. Zero.
You know how I feel about that.
You want Gio?
No, not even if we were going to play with a striker, it's not. Josh has, like Mikey said, he hasn't scored in 5 years. Every single time he's gotten a chance with the U.S. men's national team, he is non-existent. I forget that he's on the field whenever he plays.
Was that an exaggeration, or is that like the actual number of years?
It's 5 years.
So you weren't just throwing
No.
shit out there. Oh, wow.
Sam, would you like to continue to make your argument for this man to start?
Well, I just think that he's probably evolved as a player, and he's been hurt and not playing a lot for the U.S. over the last couple of years. So I mean,
that's what we said the last time that he got an opportunity. Everybody said the same thing, because he went from Werder Bremen over to Norwich and he was scoring goals at the championship level. We gave him another shot because he was scoring goals and had confidence, and then he shit the bed and he literally didn't do anything.
Okay, I mean, I think Balogun scored, so it's hard to, you know, take too much away from his performance. Also, he scored a second goal that was actually a really great buildup. If you remember the one that ended with him scoring on the pass from Weah, but Weah was just sort of a few inches offsides. rightly so. But yeah, I could see giving Sargent a look, but yeah, I can understand how sticking with
What were you
Balogun.
doing in 2019?
Me?
Yeah.
God, living life, not worried about COVID.
Was that the first year of the podcast?
No, that was the
second.
podcast was already probably 7 years old by that point, but that was the last time Josh Sargent scored a goal for the United States.
What date? When in 2019?
November 20th, 2019.
Now,
Ooh.
who was it against? Do you have that?
Oh God.
Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah. No. I had it up. Cuba.
All right. We hate gingers around here. I'm clearly sensing this.
If we play Cuba, I vote to start Josh.
No, he starred Jesus Ferreira. He's the pirate of the Caribbean.
True.
That's my vote.
All right. Well, now predictions for the Panama game. Do we feel like, Panama gives us a tough time down in Panama? I feel like this is a team that we should beat on home soil.
They hung with Uruguay. They hung with Uruguay for 80 minutes, man.
And they scored a goal. Yeah. I still think we should win this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a similar game to what Tyler just described with Uruguay, I think. Though they should win, but they're going to hang close for sure.
They're not deep. I think that they leave something to be desired in the attacking third, but defensively and in the midfield and with Coco, and keep in mind that this is the same Panama team that did beat up on our C team in Gold Cup, but Coco fucking ran the show in the middle of the field, and he's super legit and should probably be over in Europe. So this will be a test of our mental fortitude, if you will, over the course of 90 minutes, because it's going to be frustrating, especially since we can't score and we don't have a real number 9. So
Jesus.
Why are you acting like I'm saying anything that's out of line or like I'm like?
No, I just love it. It's just
no, not you. You're laughing. You're laughing along with me. Like Sam thinks that I'm being like some sort of asshole and like I'm being negative. Like we don't have time.
You're taking shots at the goal scorers union here a little bit. I'm not saying that they're not somewhat deserved, but I think that these guys are still how old is Ricardo Pepi?
Oh, we're gonna play this card now.
I'm not playing the card. I'm just it's a card for a reason, right? I mean, he is
Balogun's
21.
24. He's 21.
21. That's Pepi.
No, Balogun's like 24 or 25, I think.
Yeah, he's 22.
Is he? Wow.
22. Yes.
Right.
Baby Jesus has been doing it since he's 17.
For a week. He's 23 in a week.
Sargent's 24. So, your point is well taken that, some guys are just class from the start, right? Pulisic has been the man for almost a decade at this point. But we'll see. All right. We'll move on. Anything else from the group stage so far of Copa? I know, Mikey, you've been watching every single one of these games, probably betting on all
Colombia
of them.
1-0.
Yeah, I just saw I got the.
Hey, I'm behind you, fuckers.
Seconds ahead of me, Tyler, you prick.
Do you want me to log off now or?
No.
I actually was thoroughly impressed with Canada.
That the one thing that stood out to me about that game was the field was so terrible that it didn't surprise me that Argentina didn't really look like Argentina. Maybe that's a credit to Canada as well, but
If Messi
He also lost to Saudi Arabia in the first game of the World Cup. So
if Messi scores, probably 4-0. If he scores his breakaways. But yeah, I like the way Canada played. They were entertaining, organized. I think they've got some really talented players. Yeah, they were fun to watch. I was pleasantly surprised with that. I will certainly be tuning in for the rest of their games too.
all right. Ecuador, Venezuela, I think went an interesting way. That red card was a Mikey bet killer.
Mikey's so upset.
I just love when you have a script and then somebody just fucks it up. That game never stood a chance. Just say that.
What was the script that got screwed up?
Can you just tell everybody your bet?
No, because I've been off a little bit. I was very excited for Kendry Paez. So For those of you who don't know, plays for Independiente del Valle, one of the best academies, produced some of the best Ecuadorian talent. 17 years old. He's given the full keys of this team. They've got good players around him. They've got experience. And I was excited for him. And Enter Valencia just reminds everybody that he can sometimes be an absolute shithead and get sent off right away. And the whole thing was ruined. So, yeah, I was
found the
excited for that
script.
game.
I found the
Big win
script.
for Venezuela, man. I was working Minnesota and Austin. Obviously, I was in Minnesota again. And the two commentators on the Spanish side are Venezuelan, so they were glued to the game basically up until kickoff for our game. Like I was wondering if they were going to come to the booth. Like they were just glued to the TV that was outside of the booth. But big win for them.
It was
Big
going to be
win.
a fun one.
Here's the script that Mikey had. It was a bet that was plus 6,887. He had John Yeboah, anytime goal scorer for Ecuador, Solomon Rondon, anytime goal scorer for Venezuela, and then Ecuador to win by exactly 1 goal.
That was going to happen.
Enter Valencia screwed it all up.
He did.
All right, Mexico got a 1-0 win over Jamaica. I didn't really have anything to say about that game.
I had hope for that game.
Edson Alvarez done for the tournament.
Yeah, that looked nasty, huh?
Yeah, but it's not a tear. It's
Okay.
a hamstring situation, but it's going to be longer than the length of the tournament, so he's done.
Okay, and then we got 2 of the favorites that are still to finish a game with Colombia up 1-0 on Paraguay, and Brazil still to play against Costa Rica tonight. So that will be interesting to watch. Now let's move on to stoppage time. I've already given my Evan Toney's best bet of the week, which is a lock. I know you guys hate it, but Serbia Denmark over will happen. So we'll finish strong with GOAWs. So
wait, can I jump in here quickly?
You can.
And I want to put this out there to the good people of this pod right now, meaning you three. Because of the amount of soccer that's going on at the international level, like I'm not saying I want to do MLS hit and quit a minute, but like there was an entire slate of games this weekend. And I'm just curious where your mindset is because, you know, here we are with league play still going on. Now, granted, it's not the best product in the world because we're missing a lot of really good players, but, you know, I'm just saying it did happen.
I think that's a fair point. I was trying to keep it compact and not put you on the
No,
spot.
you weren't. You forgot about it. No, don't.
And
do
I
that.
100% forgot about it. But my thoughts on the league playing is I think it stinks, but I'm not sure they have an alternative because
we certainly don't have an alternative if we're cutting the U.S. Open Cup from 3/4 of the league. And then yeah, no, we can't take a few weeks off for an international break.
Leave it right there. Do you want to do it? Give us a
No, I don't. That was not what this was for. I just kind of wanted to see where everybody was at. And like, clearly nobody gives a shit about MLS right now, which is fine. I'm just saying like, that's what happens when you're playing during Copa America and Euros. That's going to happen.
That is what happens, but I will deny that because I won a lot of money on MLS overs this week. And
how many of those games did you watch?
I watched Chicago, Orlando. And yeah, that was about it. I mean, listen,
everybody's talking about the Revolution winning 2 in a row. Don't be Tyler.
First of all, I was in Las Vegas for the record, so I was going to 2 dead shows. So this weekend was not exactly.
Oh, you were with Cats.
Yeah, it was at the Sphere. That place is insane.
Are you a deadhead?
No.
How did they let you in?
I don't know. That's a good question. I guess they saw my BAC level and was like, yep, okay, he fits in. I don't know.
I bet it was just BAC.
Well, I was trying to keep it PG.
He keeps it clean other than that. He's a little
win in Rome.
Really? I'm surprised.
Win in Rome, my friend. Listen, the Dead and Company. I would never call myself a deadhead. I've never been a big fan. I know some of the songs. The show at Sphere was pretty incredible. And like, you can just you can appreciate greatness in anything. And like, I could just tell, wow, this is something else. And the Sphere, the visuals there. Oh, wow. Yeah. And of course, when you got Dan around, like the red carpet is rolled out for you, which is just a whole different experience. Anyway, so yes, I was the reason I wasn't watching as much MLS this weekend is because other things were going on, and it wasn't just international tournaments. But your point is well founded. you know, that's what happens when you play through a large international tournament like this. You're going to get pushed down a peg or two in terms of interest level.
They should play they should play on Thursday and Friday.
I mean, maybe. I mean, the Copa. Well, I mean, it's
I
not
will
like they're-
say attendance has not been an issue because they just posted we passed 6 million fans already, which is the earliest we've ever done that in league history.
Nice.
And I'm not just trying to pump the league, but that is important. And then obviously Messi has a huge part to do with that because when you have games at Arrowhead and stuff like that, then it, you know, changes the game a little bit. But I think that, you know, for the pure junkies, you watch your Euros in the morning, you watch your Copa America, or you watch it on your phone while you're at the game. I saw a lot of people, you know, when they had the game on in the lobby of like the concourse area. So I don't think the attendance is hurting as much. I mean, I definitely think that, you know, I would say there are a lot of relationships that are hanging by a thread right now because, you know, dudes are just, and girls for that matter, are just watching soccer throughout the entirety of the day because it's just
the best.
non-fucking stop.
It's the best.
Stop.
Okay, go is time. Let's finish strong. Mikey, I feel like you don't want to go. Okay.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Tommy's ready. Tom Stradamus, hit us.
I'm ready on this. So I'm between 3 out of the 4 games or all 4 of the games tomorrow in Euros, having a goal in minutes 75 plus.
We went to Ivan Toney's best bet as you're going.
I knew as soon as you started talking, I knew he didn't know what we were talking about.
No. I thought you said best bets. Shit. Okay.
Listen, I love that best bet. We'll go to Tyler then for we'll start with the goes.
I am going to go with Landon Donovan. Okay. This guy, all hair stuff aside, he really doesn't have much experience in the broadcasting industry. Obviously the World Cup in 2022 is really his first foray into it. And I thought that he was good, not great. And that's all with the caveat that he really hadn't done much. I think he's been phenomenal thus far. And I know that Fox has gotten a lot of crap for the coverage, for sub-licensing games out to Fubo, which, believe me, I agree totally, it's diabolical. And you can complain all you want. But I think that the number one pairing of Ian Dark and Landon has been a really, really, really good pair. And I have like thoroughly enjoyed it. I have the sound up. I was listening to them in the gym today during the Italy Croatia game. So I think that Fox hit a home run with that one. And Landon in particular, I think has made leaps and bounds in that department, which as a broadcaster, I can appreciate.
So the interesting thing there, I've seen a lot of comments from him, not from him, about him on Instagram when I put up, the picture about the crazy hair thing. And it felt like there were a lot of just instinctive responses from people saying, I don't like him as a commentator. And I think, it's been interesting because if you have this picture of him coming in and you're not going to change that, it feels like sort of his cadence and stuff, you sort of, he's not being expressive enough. It's not being energetic enough or whatever. That probably plays against him a little bit, but if you listen to what he says, I agree with you. I think he's gotten much better. It's also something that I could never in a million years do. So I'm always impressed by anybody who does that. But given how little experience he has in the booth, it does feel like he's, on sort of a good trajectory to be a very good color commentator.
I've never been, now granted, I worked with Tony Miola for 3 years, who is not an energetic broadcaster by any stretch of the imagination. I kind of like it that way. Like, the Troy Aikman sort of like really smooth, factual, break down the game into layman's terms. And from a credibility standpoint, who else could you ask for on the call if you're an American? And if you're going to be a Euro snob and say that you want somebody British speaking, or if you want Warren Barton as the number one team, like, this is an American who's played at the highest level. He's played in the Premier League successfully, I might add. And he's commentating on the Euros. Like, it doesn't get much better than that in terms of an American speaking on the game and having the chops to be able to do it. So if I think that a lot of people, if their knee-jerk reaction is going to be, I don't like him as a commentator, I think that they're more so associating Fox with the entire thing than they are Landon as a player or whatever it might be. And the guy was making fun of himself for getting dropped from the men's national team for the 2014 World Cup too. So I thought he was I think he's been brilliant.
I think that's a very
Sure.
fair shout. I like that.
It's a good shout. And, you know,
Out of that.
coming from you, it actually has, you know, some heft behind it as opposed to one of our non-commentator types. Okay, Mikey, what's your go?
Torn between two, so I'm gonna go with the one that wasn't tweeted by me already. I genuinely feel that the process of VAR at the Euros has kept the excitement in the game. And I'm a perennial bitcher, so I'll just come out on a limb and say my GOA is the automated system that they're using at the Euro and its effectiveness right now. I think it has the fact that it hasn't been a talking point in any of these amazing games thus far is the talking point. And I think it's worth pointing out when it's doing something right as well. So I'm gonna say the way the Euros has handled VAR and is using VAR is outstanding so far.
Okay. It's a lot of positivity going around these
Yeah, the
parts.
other one was that Fox advertises the wrong time slot for the games and is completely.
Oh, that's so
bullshit.
annoying.
I'm not gonna do
So
that.
annoying. They always add in that extra hour. Oh, Fox, you
Yeah, I'm
diabolical is
keeping
the
it
right word.
positive though. I'm choosing to be positive here.
There we
so.
go. Positive vibes only. Like it. Okay, Tommy.
I'm going to go with the English national team, specifically Rice, Kane, and a couple others that spoke up. I think that whole country has it twisted backwards in so many ways in how they support their national team. And this is what I wanted to dovetail with the US is I think we're on the precipice of becoming that same type of fan base, especially on Twitter. And I think it's so toxic. And I really hope that we don't become like that with the better players that we have. I think some of it's justified in talking about their team, but I do not think there's a sense of let's rally around our team and let's support these guys and, you know, be on their sides, which I think our former national team players do have. So I definitely agree with them calling out former players that are pundits. And I hope it works out for them. I genuinely do, because I just think it's so toxic.
You're right that the US is sort of, if not there already, we're heading in that direction. The complication there is that there's just so much negativity directed at Berhalter that there's people that are rooting against the team just so he is fired.
Same with Southgate.
I can't wrap my head around that. I can't get on board with that. But it's just sort of a evidence of the toxicity that exists. Okay, good shouts, everybody. I will give mine to, I got one honorable mention, Albania's Kalis Gajusula. I don't know how to, GJ.
Bless you.
Yeah, exactly. GJASULA. Gajusula. I don't know. I need some help on that. Anyway, he was subbed on in the 72nd minute with Albania up 1-0 on Croatia. He then saw Croatia score a first goal. He conceded a crippling own goal for Croatia in the 76th minute. So in 4 minutes after coming on, the other team scored one goal and then he scored an own goal. But then he bounced back in stoppage time with an equalizer to give Albania their only point of the tournament, which I thought that was a pretty cool moment, kind of like Modric when he got his penalty saved and bounced back within 30 seconds, actually 32 seconds, and scored a goal today against Italy. But my actual Goa is the referee from the St. Louis City Atlanta Falcons FC game. His name, I saw it, Filip Dujic. So his explanation for the VAR decision in this game was, we've mentioned diabolical before. This was absolutely diabolical. I should play the audio of it because the way he did it was just so incredible. But they went back and looked at a St. Louis City goal, and this was at St. Louis. They look back at a St. Louis goal to see if it was offsides. And he comes back and he's like, after review, the goal, there was no offsides on the play. And of course, St. Louis City fans start cheering. And then he's like, however, in the buildup to the play, there was a foul, which they weren't even, going back for VAR. They weren't even going back to look at. So the goal was chalked off, and his delivery of it, and this is, now this new thing where the refs are explaining the situations. His delivery of it was just incredible. He's not going to earn many St. Louis City fans from that, but I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So shout out to Philip Dujic for his explanation of that. Dujic. I can't listen. Pronunciation it's terrible.
I know. Nails on a chalkboard for me. So.
I know. I'm sorry. Thank God Derek Ray never listens. They'd probably take a transcontinental flight and strangle me. Anyway, that's all we got. Thanks everybody. This has been a great episode, of course. And anybody who's thinking about the internship, get a hold of me somehow. Send me an email, whatever. Thank you guys. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Tyler. By the way, Mitch isn't here because he is on a self-proclaimed bender in Barcelona. So pray for his safe return. We'll be back at some point next week. Bigger, better, faster, stronger. See you guys then.